Bonjour. So, why did I not use my hi everyone greeting, which I usually use? Because I was playing a French person, so it seemed appropriate to say bonjour and use a bit of French. But it was my worst GCSE grade, so maybe I shouldn't be talking French for this game of Les Jacques. Okay, but yes, I was playing someone French. And so far I'm on a rather respectable score, and I'm surprisingly not properly up the standings yet. But this is not a game I was looking forward to, because I was black against some very strong French kid who actually is 17 but looks about 12, but was very nice actually. His English wasn't particularly great, but that's understandable because my French is abysmal. And he was 1935 FIDE, but the thing is, juniors in this country, if they're like 1700 or 1800, they're usually about 170 ECF, so a 1935 is about 190 ECF, I'd say, strength. So yeah, it's gonna be tough. I did my prep and saw that he originally used to play really double think out systems, because you expect with juniors to tactically hack, but this guy plays very dull blocked up positions. He now plays the channel 4 attack and actually plays the reverse sniper. So 1c4, the awkward moment when someone French plays English against someone who's English, and he doesn't actually play the French defense as black. I played e5, because if I'm going to use Nimzo as my own weapon, I'm not going to get it against c4 g3, so I might as well try and punish c4 by taking the centre and playing e5. And I decided to set up a reverse Grand Prix attack. Oh, actually, not quite actually. I'm trying to get a classical Dutch with e5 already in, because in the classical Dutch usually you have to work to get e5 in, so I thought if I can get it in this quickly then I should have a good position. So this is quite an interesting setup. Because you never get me playing the Grand Prix attack, I mean it's a very boring opening. Knight c3, knight f6, knight f3, bishop e7, d4, and I play d4. This is a very provocative move, this, because I have the chance to play e4. E takes d4 is not so great. After knight takes d4, I've got a problem is I've moved my f pawn, so now there is weaknesses on e6, and this bishop is raking across my position. Not good. So I push, and now he played knight g5. So of course his plan is he wants to play d5, and then I put my knight into e6, and then if I take it, I'll lose my bishop pair, and I give him a massive square on d5. Let's say I just routinely castle. d5. And then you see, say if h6, what am I doing? My computer, or as you said, the complete spaz out. Sorry, h6. He plays knight into e6. Oh, I've done it again. Apologies for this. So of course my queen and rook are fought, so I have to take it. And he takes back. Now the problem is this pawn actually probably will be lost, but there's so much compensation in this d5 square. Not nice. Also 2 bishops, wrecking through my position. So I play h6 to expel the knight before he can get d5 in. He has to go back to h3 of course. And now the problem is again, if I don't play, and if the g5 is going to put his knight in f4, I play h4 and strangle me. And he also has the same plan of d5, knight e6, so I have to play g5. Which is very double-edged, because I might be able to get an attack on his king if he castles, but the pawns seem to be a bit overextended, and to be honest I do not trust this line at all, and I have no idea why I played it. Because now f3 is played, chipping away at my centre, and interestingly enough it seems that I can actually get away with knight c6, because actually after f takes e4, knight takes e4, knight takes e4, f takes e4. What I failed to realise is that the pawn is actually immune to the knight being on prise, but you can if he plays knight f2, d5, if takes, queen takes, the d4 point is hanging if he tries to grab my e4 point. And I'll be after this position because this guy does seem to like very blocked positions, so if it's as open as this then it might be quite good. Say bishop takes, check, and then king f1's best. And then maybe we can... The problem is we actually can't grab d4, because actually plays bishop takes c6 check and moves the defense of the queen. So we have to be content with having some good compensation for the pawn due to the fact that white can't castle. But I couldn't bother calculating all that early in the game, because I'm quite lazy, and calculation before bit move 20 does not suit me at all. So I just took, because I thought he can't take with the bishop due to the fork, so he can just take with the pawn and block his bishop in. And if he ever plays f4, I can play g4 and gain space. Now of course the centre's a bit open and my king's still in the centre, and I castled, which looks very suicidal right into my pawn's that far advanced, but he can't take advantage of it. And now he started thinking for absolute ages now and came up with f4, which provokes my pawns to go forward even further where they may be weaker, and practically forces me to push, otherwise my king side gets ripped open. But this also unleashes his bishop onto the b7 point, therefore tying my bishop down. So I played g4 of course, and knight goes back to f2, and now I played c6, another non-developing move, but I was getting worried about that bishop, so I wanted to blunt it as much as I could. And of course now I can develop my bishop safely. Overall I'd say out of the opening white has got a small advantage. Okay, I've got a lot of space on the king side, but my queen side development is very awkward and hard to defend, and I have to be careful for white ripping open lines. And he actually played h3, which actually I don't think is very good. I think he should just have castled. And maybe he's got. I think he should probably try and play rook b1, b4, b5, and try and rip open the. Try and create winces on my queen side. But he tried to directly refutation my ambitious opening and played h3. So obviously he wants to try and rip open the h file and maybe move his bishop and queen, castle queen side, and try and make me on h8 or something, which is distinctly possible. And g takes h3 I would not advise at all, because now after he takes back, everything is just very weak in this position. So I played h5, which is normal, because now if he takes, I take back, and I can answer any move like say rook a6, which is king Qc7, and he can't follow it up because his pieces are very undeveloped. So we played bishop e3 after another very long think, and now I realised, so maybe his plan is to move his queen out and then castle queen side and try and mate me. So I prophylaxis against that with king Qc7. But interestingly enough, h4 seems to be a good move, which I briefly considered. Because after g takes h4, I've got g3, knight d3, and now knight e4. And this is a very interesting conversation in this position, it seems. Because I'm getting maybe piece to f2, and in fact I'm going to be getting h pawn, so after queen c2 we take this pawn. This is a very interesting position, but I do have to be very careful about my king. It's looking more open than ever. And white can castle queen side and have a safe king, but this g pawn could be meant in an endgame. So I played the prophylactic king g7, trying to play like Petrosian, seeing threats before my opponent could even think of them. But sadly I am Tim Hilton, not Petrosian. Queen b3, I expected, it's a good square for the queen, and puts pressure on the b7 point, time a bishop down again, makes it half mid to develop, and also prepares maybe queenside castling. And now this is where I started burning time, and I didn't even consider the h4 plan again. I just brought my knight out to d7, which is probably not the best move, but since when I've ever played the best move. I played h4. And I thought this was a very clever move, this, because the point is now we can castle safely without worrying about me hacking him. And now the king side's completely blocked up, so the attention turns to the centre and the queen side. And now, question for you: who holds the advantage in the centre and the king side? Queen side, sorry. It's obviously white. He's got pawns on d4 and c4 against my pawns on d6 and c6. His queen and bishop and knight are all very active. Once he brings his knight to d3, he's very active. My bishop's stuck behind the pieces. My rook isn't playing. My other rook's doing nothing. This is a very horrible position, this. And a request for the comments would be for a strong player to tell me what exactly did I go wrong in this game, because this is a very miserable position. I played rook b8, getting the rook off the diagonal of the fianchettoed bishop and preparing to move the knight somehow to some stupid square and get the bishop out through castles. White has just got a very pleasant advantage, and against a grinder like him this is not nice. Queen came to c7, queen c2, the queen's got its job, and now the f point is threatened, so I've got to do something about that. So I've got to move one of my knights, so I'll play the very radical king g6, which probably is playable, but nope. Knight b6, best move, but again b6 is usually a lively square for a black knight. b3 to show up the c4 point and prepare maybe ideas of a4, a5. Bishop d7, getting less piece into the game and getting the rooks talking to each other. Rook a to c1, preparing maybe to play c5 at some point. So rather interesting. Rook be8, just trying to get the rook to an open file, and also eyeballing white c3 bishop. Queen d3, protecting the bishop and moving the queen to a more active square. And I played queen b8 because it looks odd, but I was a bit worried about some tactics with knight d5 and knight b5 at some point, with my queen being hanging. I don't like having my queen on the same rook as it files a rook. You should always be careful when even there's a lot of pieces in the way, you should always be wary of putting your queen on the same file as a rook. I was taught this by Josh Waitkin on Chessmaster when I was a beginner. Well, I still am a beginner, but I mean the bigger beginner. Okay, a4. So now he's turning up the heat, he's been cranked up 7,000-fold. He wants to beat my knight to an oval square. And now I decided I'm just going to get squashed, so I'll do something radical and I play d5. This is a very reckless move, of course. So of course I want to try and get my knight into e4 and if it takes to get a protected passed pawn, but of course, you see, every pawn move creates a weakness. I mean, I am now chronically weakening the e5 square. But the point is, I did it because he's put his queen on d3, so he's going to waste a tempo moving his queen again to get a knight there. And that's the only reasonable way to get his knight into e5. a5 is expected. And now this is where it starts to hot up a bit. Because I didn't like the look of just playing knight. I had to play something like knight a8. I mean, come on, that is horrific. In fact, then he just takes his pawn actually for moving the knight. That's the problem. So actually, I played chucks in d takes c4, and he has to take back some of his queen, so it's an intermezzo. And now knight's got to go back to a horrible square, so back to c8. And now I'm really surprised he didn't just play c5. I thought I'm practically dead after this move because now my knight can never get out. And although it does give the d5 square up, I think that having my knight, I'm basically playing a piece down. In fact, I'm playing about 3 pieces down in this position, that passive. I think this is positionally 1 for white there, so I can't see what I'm doing after c5. Which shows that even all these strong players make mistakes. So you want to rook a1 instead. So I thought, no, I've got a chance to get the knight out. Well, if I play knight d6 in this position, then there was something I was worried about, which I actually cannot remember. Or actually, he's got enough pieces on e4. I can't put my knight in, so he can play c5 with tempo, and then my knight has to go back or something, and then d5. Very nasty. So bishop back to d8, just a move on, trying to get something on e4. And again, c5 wasn't played. Instead, rook fb1 was played. So now, of course, a6 is coming. So something has to be done fast. So I'm not hanging around to be executed. I play knight d6 because now there is enough pieces on the e4 point. Now I've moved that bishop. And he missed a strong move actually. He missed d5. I could play knight takes c4. Similar tactic to the game actually. Well, of course, if he takes someone's bishop, but he has bishop c5. After c takes d5, he doesn't take the rook. First he chucks in knight takes d5, and I'm going to think I have to play knight d6 to save the material. And then he got a6, b5, just about hanging on. But this is just this is the most worst position ever. Just simply something like rook d1, and I'm getting pasted. All this for a pawn. I've got to play rook e6. This is not good. But he played c5, which is logical, but he actually missed my next move. He said after the game, like, typical Arsene Wenger style, I did not see that. I played knight to c4. And now this is where it gets really interesting, because we're both getting actually very short of time. We've still got 12 moves to make with a few minutes each, plus the increment. And the position actually gets all of a sudden very complicated, with tactics flying everywhere. But actually, this move is actually not as good as it looks. But the move to keep the big edge is actually very hard to see. It's actually just knight cd1. Because now, say if I take it, I knight takes c3. That's a very difficult move to see, but if you look at this position, it's very good for white, because a6 is coming next. And say if I move the queen out of the a file, we've got knight c4 coming to d6, defending the fork on d6. If I cover that, a6, got to take it, and then this is just crushing. But he took my knight. I thought, this is very bad actually, I thought another alternative was to play, sack that pawn and move the bishop back to c1 to keep this bishop. And then take it. I thought he was going to do this, just sack the pawn. But he gets enough compensation, but he wanted more. Queen takes c4 is played, and now we've nabbed his bishop. We've got to take c3. So now I was very happy in this position. And now I played a6. So now I had a quick look actually. It's also bad. I had a look at rook takes g3, chucking this in to try and get at his king. But this is not so great because he plays rook takes. I also this rook takes b7, queen takes f4, and then rook takes a7 is what I calculated. I couldn't find a move at this point for black, but actually queen f3 just wins on the spot, which I did not see. He just wins a piece. So actually, after queen takes f4, if he plays knight e2, I sack on g2, king takes g2, we got check, king g1, and then we actually play a very quiet move, rook e8, attacking the knight, rook a2 to defend, and then we slam this pawn down his throat, and black has a very strong initiative. So actually rook takes b7 is bad, it should actually take with the pawn. And then now if I play queen takes f4, that is bad because we've got b8 queen, so obviously that's not good. So I have to keep my queen there, but I've still got bishop c7 defending the f4 point. Say if he defends it with knight d3, then I can actually, for some reason in this position I can actually take it. Because if he takes, queen takes, my rook is now protecting the queen square, and this is very good for black. So that's a chance missed. I've just played b5, b6 instead, hoping he wouldn't take, but he did. But now black's better in this position. You play king h2 to protect g3. Queen came to d6, moving the queen from the pin, and all of a sudden out of this miserable position, I've got a very active position. I'm even threatening. I've got an initiative now. Even threatening to take on d4, and maybe I'm going to scout this kid. He played rook d1 to defend it. It's good to have the initiative, especially when we're both getting short of time. Because sometimes when you're short of time, the initiative means a lot more than material, and it's even material. I played rook fe8, which is logical but probably not the strongest move. I played d5, which and now I think I should have took it to keep my bishop open. Because but it doesn't quite work. Because after queen takes c3. Bishop takes f2, he's got d takes c6 at the end of it, and white wins. So, but I should have took. After knight takes, take everything. Probably take with the rook, which is what I'm scared of. But maybe I can just bring my queen back to e7, and I've got total domination of the e file, and as long as I don't get mated, I should be better in this position. But in the game I played a horrendous move. I played c5, just blocking my bishop in and lining my pass pawn. So white's got its back to equal now. Rook a2, protecting the knight against any discoveries, even though there isn't any discoveries anymore. Queen e7. Knight d3. And rook c8. So now white's getting a big advantage. 95. Bishop c7. In fact, this is a blunder. I'll just go back a few moves. I can't remember where it was. There was a point where I looked at sacrifice for most of our remaining time. Might have been this position. I think it was before his queen got to a certain square. So you have to go through it again. There's a point where I was looking at a sacrifice on g3 for ages. I think it was after my rook got to the e file. It was this position. Ah yes, I remember now. Okay, and this is your test, right? This is your test for the video. You have to work out the consequences of rook takes g3 in this position. Does it win for black or not? What your view? Pause the video if you want to have a go. Okay, the answer is I did miss a win actually. Yeah, this is why I missed it. Yeah, I missed the rook takes g3. Well, I didn't miss it. I spent most of my remaining time on this move on rook takes g3, thinking it doesn't work. And he said in post-mortem it doesn't work, but it's completely almost wins. So rook takes g3. If he takes it, so I'd seen rook e3 check. The point is he can't block the bishop, he has to go back, and I've got a g3 check. And if he moves back, g takes. What was it? If king g1, this just wins on the spot actually, because if he takes, I've got a discovered attack. And if king h1 takes, and we promote to a rook our queen, or to a rook for a laugh. And the point is, after rook takes f1, we have rook h3 check. Ouch. But it's very hard to calculate that far. So if he does the better one of them, g takes f2, it's not with check. Then this is still, we exchange down for a pawn, but white's king is very open and it's probably going to get, in fact this is completely lost actually. Because next we've got moves like, we've got queen a3, oh, it's just awful. And I spent ages looking at it, I spent all my remaining time looking at this move thinking it doesn't work, and it does work, and I should have tried it anyway because it's very difficult to defend against in the time pressure. So yeah, I was a bit gutted to miss this and not play it. I do that all the time, that I see the really good moves and never actually have the ball to play him. That's my problem. So I play this horrible move instead, and then we get to this position. Yeah, this is a complete blunder, this, because he found this nice tactic of d6. Can you calculate this to the finish? Find the winning. So now you got to find the winning move for white in this position. Yeah, he found this instantly. Rook takes d6. Complete killer. There's two lines you have to calculate. One simpler than the other. The one which I played is the simplest because I took the rook, completely oblivious to the fact that it's a mate in 2. So after that I realised it's going to be knight g6 mate next move, or queen g6. So I resigned. But of course the other line you have to see is this. But this fails as well, because that's the end of it. We've got this tactic, and white is a piece up for 2 pawns of a crushing position. But I just played down the simple line and got mated, which is a bit of a disaster, because after being pasted all game I managed to almost win it, and shows that even against these strong players they do make mistakes. But it was a very encouraging game. And that evening I played in a team blitz event with 2 of my players from my club back home, Denton, and our guest member Tom Thorpe, and we got pasted in our first 2 games 4-0 Then I managed to get a draw, so we only lost 3.5, and then we actually started winning games at the end. And it's a shame they stopped it being 3-day rated, because I'd have got a lot of points then. Because of it beat a couple of strong players. Which shows that maybe I can do fast chess if I can't do long chess. But I hope you enjoyed this interesting battle against this French genius. And please leave any comments and thoughts. Thanks very much. Or more like, merci beaucoup.